Looking to take your financial knowledge to the next level? You're in the right place. Welcome to Ask Ralph, offering accounting, technical, and financial advice. Whether you're looking to save taxes or improve your business, he's got you covered. Here's your host of Ask Ralph, Ralph Eastup Jr.
Hello and welcome back to the Ask Ralph Show. We just wrapped up our credit series and I hope everyone enjoyed that. And again, if you missed any of those sessions, you're welcome to go to our podcast site where we've got each of our previous sessions there for download, and you can look at all the other podcasts we have. But now we're going to start talking about ways to save money. Now, in research of our show, my admin Taylor went to a website called americasaves.org. And I will definitely recommend that all of you take the time to go check this out. But I wanted to go over what they call 54 ways to save money. Now, this is going to be a multi-series, multi-session series, so I'm not going to handle all these things now. But I just want to start, talking about how to save money. It's one of the things I noticed that a lot of people are not doing. One of the things I see in our practice, I see a lot of people in debt, but the one thing I don't see is a lot of people making plans for savings. And it's like anything else. If you have a plan for this, then you're likely to be successful with it. So let's start with some general saving tips. And these are top level tips. These are things that just, kind of go without saying, but they really make a lot of sense. And the first thing is build an emergency fund. And I will tell you that a lot of people fall in this area. One of the things it mentions here in this article is low-income families with at least $500 in an emergency fund are better off financially than moderate-income families with less saved up. And that really is the key, because you never know when you're going to have that emergency. And, a lot of times when you get into that emergency position, then what happens is you may have to put money on a credit card or something like that in order to get you through that emergency. So just having even a small amount, like $500, is a huge thing to do. And a lot of people say, well, Ralph, how do I get to $500? Well, you take it $20 at a time or $10 at a time. Just take it one step at a time and slowly build up that emergency fund. Now, I'm not saying that $500 is enough. I think you need to build up a emergency fund that's greater than that. Average rule of thumb says 3 months worth of earnings. Now, you're not going to do that right away, but it's at least something to work towards. Now, one of the things that I think is very beneficial to this is to establish a budget. And there's an old adage that says, what gets measured gets done. So this is a great place to start. And when I work with new clients, a lot of times we'll work on this and we'll put together, a budget. And one of the easiest ways to do this is for the first month, just track what you're spending. Don't necessarily pay attention to making choices, but just do something as simple as, stack your, keep every receipt of every dollar you spend. Now, I'm going to throw something in here. If you're one of these people that goes to the ATM machine and just takes out cash, I don't want you to do that in the month that you're tracking, because it's going to make it much more difficult to track. Now, that being said, if that's the way you do things, then just make sure you get a receipt for everything. And at the end of the month, what you're going to do is take those receipts and sort them into piles. And then you're going to take a look at, where does your money go? And a lot of people don't realize, where does the money go? I've had clients that are, making good money financially, but at the end of the month, they have nothing left over. And then we start to look into this and say, okay, well, did you realize you spent this much at Starbucks? Do you realize you spent this much on eating out? Did you realize you spent this much on entertainment? And, it might only be a $20 here or $30 there or $50 there, but it adds up over a month. And what happens is until you actually sit down and create that budget, you don't know where the money's going. Now, a great way to handle this is once you develop that budget, you can do what's called the envelope budget system. And this is one of the things that I've seen people do. In fact, my grandmother, she just passed away actually a week or two ago, but she was one of these people who always did the money envelope thing. And she would, when her checks came in or whatever she was doing, she would cut up, the cash and put it in envelopes based upon where they're going to, where they're going to spend it. So she would have an envelope, for insurance, and she would have an envelope for entertainment, and then she would have an envelope for groceries and maybe an envelope for fuel. And basically, it's a real simple way to keep track of things, because once the envelope's empty, you can't spend anymore. Now, there's some downsides to that, of course, if you have an unexpected expense, but that's where you need to have that emergency fund, and don't just save money. You got to save. A lot of people go into this with a budget approach of, okay, well, let me look at my budget and where can I save money? And then what happens is they do that part, but what they don't do is then take that money and invest it and put it in something that's going to grow. It's real simple to say, okay, well, listen, we're going to look at our budget and we're going to say, okay, we're going to eat out, 2 nights a month less. So that's going to save us $100 a month. But then what are you going to do with that $100? See, that's the second part to this. So don't just save money, save, and that could be something to put money into a savings account, plan for college expenses, retirement emergencies that can leave you financially better off. And one of the things that I really like to talk about people doing is set up automatic savings. And that is the easiest and most effective way to save, and it puts extra cash out of sight and out of mind. One of the things you can do is every pay period have your employer deduct a certain amount from your paycheck and transfer it to a retirement or savings account. And we'll talk a little bit about retirement accounts later. But, ask your HR representative at work for more details about how to set this up. Or every month, have your bank or credit union transfer a fixed amount from your checking account to a savings or investment account. Start to live without that money, and it just becomes, something that you just do. And one of the things that you can do to do this is aim for short-term savings goals. Say, listen, I want to put aside $100, or I want to put aside $500. And maybe it's as simple as, I'm going to put away $20 a week. And that's a lot easier to measure, that you don't feel overwhelmed. If you come up with a savings goal, Ralph said I need to save 3 months worth of money, 3 months worth of work. Well, that can seem overwhelming to people. It can seem like a real daunting task. But one of the ways you can do that is just take small steps. Say, listen, I want to do $100. And then when you get to that first $100, then you say, okay, great. That wasn't too bad. So I found some places to save money. Maybe then you double your goal. But make it short term. Make it something you can attain. Because once you get going with this and you see success, then you're definitely going to feel like, doing more of it. As we talked about, putting away this money automatically, one of the things you don't want to do is, not take advantage of an employer matching retirement plan, and you want to make sure you start this retirement as soon as you can. The youngest workers are in the best position to save for retirement. Of course, a lot of people are going to say, well, Ralph, I just started my job. I've got student loans to pay. I just bought a car. That's fine. But one of the things you want to make sure you're doing is get used to setting aside that money into the 401k plan or the 403b plan or whatever, IRA that you're going to set up. And don't leave money on the table. If your employer is matching any of the retirement money, you must absolutely decide that you need to go and put that money into that retirement plan so you don't miss the opportunity to earn that money. So we're going to get into more ideas as we, further along in this, money saving tips. And like I said before, make sure you take a look at our website and our podcast, and you can go back and listen to each of these sessions so that you can come up with all of these ideas. Like I said, we're working through 54 ways to save money. So these are going to be things that you can do. Maybe not all of them pertain to you, but there are certainly some steps that you can take that put yourself in a much better financial position. Like we said, something as small as $500 a month can make a big difference. Just $500 aside in a emergency fund can make a big difference. And we'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Ask Ralph, brought to you by Sazio Accounting Plus. Please subscribe to and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a rating and review. Our podcast is produced by Carolyn Peters. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Ask Ralph Media. You can also hear me each week on 1450 WILM and on 1410 WDOV in Delaware, and on the iHeartRadio app. Submit your questions or ideas for future shows by sending an email to AskRalph@AskRalph.com.
The information contained in this episode of Ask Ralph is based on data available as of the date of its release. Sazio Accounting Plus and Ask Ralph Media Inc. is under no obligation to update this content if changes occur. Applying this information to your specific situation requires careful consideration of all facts and circumstances, and any information provided is not to be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney before acting on any material covered.